Today we're going to unlock a really powerful tool for your university-level writing. It's called the relative clause. And honestly, it's the secret to adding sharp detail and connecting your ideas in a really smooth way. If you get this right, your writing isn't just going to sound more professional. It'll be way more persuasive, too.
So let me ask you something. Think about the last paper you wrote. Did you find yourself using a lot of short, kind of simple sentences, maybe repeating the same words over and over again? Well, if that sounds familiar, you are in exactly the right place.
We're going to build this skill together, step by step. We'll start with the basics, but then we'll quickly move on to crafting those sophisticated, really impactful sentences that make academic writing, well, shine. So, you ready? Let's dive in.
So what exactly is this powerful tool? Well, at its core, it's all about adding specific, crucial information, right where you need it most.
You know, it's actually that simple. A relative clause is just a group of words that describes a person, a place, or a thing. Its job is to answer the question which one or what kind, without you having to start a whole new sentence.
Look at how this works. We could say, the student is tired. The student studies every night, right? But by combining them, the little phrase, who studies every night, instantly tells us which specific student we're talking about. See? That's the power of precision.
Now, to build these clauses, we need a special set of tools. I want you to think of these as the connector words that are going to introduce all that extra information.
These 5 words right here, they're the foundation. Each one has a very specific job, and learning when to use the right one is, for sure, the first big step. So let's take a look at each one. First up, we have who. This one is super straightforward. Whenever you're describing a person, who is your go-to word. That little clause, who explains grammar clearly, tells us more about the teacher. Simple. Next up is which. You'll use this one when the noun you're describing is an object, a thing, or an idea, but never a person. Here, the phrase which explains academic writing gives us more crucial info about the book.
Okay, now we have that, and this one's a bit more flexible. It's great because you can use it for both people and things. In this example, that practice writing identifies a very specific group of students. It's a really common and useful connector.
Where is all about location. Easy enough to remember, right? If the noun you're talking about is a place, where is the word you need? The clause, where students study quietly, gives us essential information about this particular library.
And finally, we have when. And just like you'd expect, this word is used for describing a time or a moment. The clause, when students feel overwhelmed, specifies exactly what kind of moments we're talking about.
Okay, so we've got our connector words down. Now, let's talk about the one rule that trips a lot of people up. When, and when not, to use a comma.
So here's the key difference. If the information is essential to know who or what you're talking about, then you don't use any commas. In that first sentence, we need to know it's the students who miss classes. But if the information is just extra detail, something that's nice to know but not critical, you frame it with commas. It's like a bonus fact you can lift right out of the sentence.
All right, now let's see how this all builds in practice. Because using relative clauses the right way is what really elevates your writing from everyday language to a much more formal academic style. So here's a perfect example from daily conversation. I have a friend who lives near campus. It's clear, it's correct, and it does its job. It identifies which friend you're talking about.
Now here, the sentence gets a little more analytical. This is something you definitely write in a college essay. The clause, who manage their time well, defines a really specific characteristic of the students we're discussing.
And this is where we see true academic precision. The clause that are peer-reviewed isn't just a description. It's a critical piece of information that defines what makes a source reliable. This level of clarity is exactly what we're aiming for.
Okay, now that we get the concept and we've seen some examples, let's get really practical and talk about how to avoid some of the most common pitfalls.
You know, one of the best things about relative clauses is how they make your writing more fluid and less repetitive. So instead of 2 kind of choppy sentences about the study, we just combine them. The new sentence flows so much better, and it connects the ideas more directly. It's just more efficient.
All right, these are the 2 errors you're going to see most often. First, using the wrong word like saying who for a thing. You got to remember, a book is a that or a which. And second, forgetting the commas for that extra non-essential information. If we already know who my tutor is, then the clause describing them needs those commas.
So let's bring it all home. Why did we just spend time on this? Well, because mastering relative clauses makes your writing more precise. It helps you link your ideas together really smoothly. It cuts down on repetition, and, maybe most importantly, it just elevates the whole tone of your work to sound more academic and, well, more credible.
And that right there is the real takeaway. The next step is all yours. I want you to pull up the last thing you wrote, your last essay or report. I guarantee you'll find two sentences that can be combined, or maybe a spot where a little extra detail could make your point that much clearer. So where are you going to start?